Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you the difference between the P365 trigger and the Tyrant CNC P365 trigger. Before we get started, I'd like to ask everybody to please subscribe and tell a friend about the channel. Every subscriber helps the channel grow. Now let's get on with the video. So I think what we should do is start off with ghosting the P365 trigger, and then we'll come to the Tyrant CNC P365 trigger. Here's your pre-travel. And then you hit a defined wall, you keep pulling, you get some creep, it breaks, and then you're gonna reset it. There's the reset, you're right back on the wall, there's no pre-travel anymore. Some creep and a break. To me, I like that trigger. I know there's some people that don't like it. I do. Here is the Tyrant CNC P365 trigger. So just to give you a little more detail about this trigger, it's just the trigger shoe. There's no springs. There's nothing internal that's changed. It's just the shoe. And also you could tell with this trigger shoe that you now have a trigger safety. From my understanding, Tyrant CNC is the first company to make a trigger shoe that has a trigger safety. With this trigger shoe, you're removing 30% of the trigger pre-travel. And then also it still breaks at 90 degrees. So let's check it out. So here, as you can see, that is the trigger safety. If you just pull on the shoe without pulling that blade, the gun will not go off, right? So it just won't work. So now let's ghost the trigger. So here's the pre-travel. That's your pre-travel. So you can see it's pretty short. And then you hit a defined wall. You still have the same amount of creep as you did before, and you get a crisp break. And now here's your reset. You could feel the reset. You can hear the reset. You're right back on the wall. Same amount of creep. And then you get that crisp break. I like it, but I think there's an actual difference between ghosting the trigger and shooting it with live ammo. So I'm gonna go to the range tomorrow. I'm gonna shoot this and see how it feels, and then I'll report to you guys and tell you what I think of the shooting experience with the Tyrant CNC trigger. All right guys, back from the range, and I was able to shoot both of these side by side to really notice any differences between the two. I did notice that with the Tyrant IntelliFire trigger shoe that there was less pre-travel. Keep in mind, it was a small amount, and the reason why is because the original P365 pre-travel was pretty short. So removing 30% from a small number isn't going to be as drastic of a difference, but I can say that there's definitely a noticeable difference. So you will notice that it is shorter. The other thing I would like to point out too is that the original trigger shoe is kind of rounded on the sides. With the IntelliFire, I would say more like a flat surface. Also, it feels wider. So it feels like it's wider this way. And when you place your finger on it, it just feels more comfortable. Also, I noticed that with the original, there were some times where I would over insert my trigger finger. With the IntelliFire, I don't know if it's because the trigger blade is there, and as soon as I felt the trigger blade, then I placed my finger. It kind of was like an index point for my trigger finger, so I didn't over insert like I would with the original. Something else to point out about the feel of this trigger shoe, I was a little worried because it has these notches on the side, and also because it has the blade here. So I thought maybe there might be a chance that it might irritate my trigger finger, but it didn't at all. It felt great. It was very comfortable, no irritation. The nice thing about this is there's really no sharp edges at all. It just feels really comfortable to shoot. I actually like the way this felt more than the original. Other than that, I was able to be accurate and also get follow-up shots. Everything felt really good shooting this new IntelliFire trigger. Also, just something else to point out, they offer this trigger shoe in multiple colors, so you can get the trigger shoe in one color and then the blade a completely different color. So if you're into picking really bright colors, they have you covered. I guess what it comes down to is I give it a thumbs up. I really do like shooting this new trigger shoe more than the original. One last thing, I just wanted to say that if you are going to pick one up, or you already picked yours up and now you need to do the install, I have a video on how to replace the trigger shoe for the P365, so I'll link that in the description of this video. I suggest watching the full video before you do anything, and then once you've watched the full video, go back to the beginning and then follow along with the video as you do the install. If you're interested in picking one of these triggers up, there's going to be a link in the description. Please use that link, it helps the channel out. If you thought the video was was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Also, if you're in the market for CCW insurance, check out Right to Bear. Link is in the description below. Use coupon code UBR10 to get 10% off your entire order. If you haven't already, please subscribe and tell a friend about the channel. Every subscriber helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.